Welcome to On Air Erotic Radio, brought to you by Shush.com.
And we're here with Nikki Phoenix today to talk about her very diverse life, both within the adult industry as well as in mainstream. Nikki is a fascinating person, very diverse, a lot of things going on in her life that I think our viewers will really like to hear about. So Nikki, you want to just introduce us and give us a little background information, like, where you're from, stuff like that, and then I got some specific questions for you. So go ahead, introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Nikki Phoenix, or Nicole Phoenix in mainstream. I grew up in Seattle, but I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. When I was growing up, I was the kid that was bullied by everybody and picked on and made fun of, and I had a couple bad relationships and was kind of abused, and I was very, very heavy growing up. I moved to DC and I got married and ended up getting a personal trainer and started working out and taking care of myself. And I kind of got into modeling in that kind of way to kind of boost my confidence, because growing up I was just, I had no self-confidence when I was growing up at all.
Yeah. Well, so, you've got more than enough now, I'm hearing, from reading all of your press and stuff.
Yes. Well, it's kind of very empowering when you are that kid that was bullied and picked on, and, even my sister kind of growing up would call me that I'm stupid, and, I had a hard time in school because I'm dyslexic. But we didn't find out that I was dyslexic until a couple years ago, when I started going through, just therapy to kind of boost my confidence and deal with my issues from when I was a kid. I had these mean girls that bullied me and picked on me. One of them shoved me downstairs, would photocopy like letters and stuff like that I would have with my friends. Even my friends that I thought were my friends in high school weren't my friends. They all talked crap about me. It's typical high school stuff, but it was more mean and vicious towards me.
So I know from talking a little bit before we turned on the camera here that you had some fairly significant weight loss, before you got into both the adult industry and the mainstream film industry. You want to talk about a little bit of the process and where you started with that, how you trimmed down, and then some of the opportunities that you went from that with.
Yeah, I lost 120 pounds. My top weight was 247, and I was 42% body fat. And when I moved to DC and got married, I didn't have anything but myself and my ex-husband, because we ended up getting divorced. And he was pretty wealthy, and so, I was just talking about how I wanted to lose weight and how I wanted to, just change myself, because I saw DC as an opportunity. Nobody knew who I was. All I had was my husband at the time. And, all my friends and family were back in Washington, so it was kind of like motivation for me to kind of change myself.
Yeah, and body image is a really significant thing for, both men and women.
It is.
So was that a great motivating factor to really get past that?
Yeah. Well, and it was kind of like I was starting anew, because, where I lived and where I grew up and all the bad relationships that I had, it was, mentally destroying, and the confidence and, my self-worth and all that stuff just kind of was the water because of where I lived and the environment that I was living in. So when I moved to DC, like I said, I hired a trainer, and we immediately started talking about my diet and how I ate. Well, I only ate once a day, and she's like, okay, you need to eat like 5 times a day. So then we started writing down me eating 5 times a day. Well, it turned out that I was only eating like 500 or 600 calories a day, and my metabolism was just really low. Right. So we started, just doing some physical workouts. I remember my first workout with her, I was destroyed the next day, because I was never athletic really when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It was so hard, and I got nauseous, and I think I maybe worked out for 20 minutes. But slowly we started working out 2 times a week and then 3 times a week. And, we noticed that I ate a little bit too much cheese. And so we backed off on the cheese, and I like carbohydrates. Sugar is my vice. I love sugar. As the weight started coming off, I was kind of decided that I wanted to do pictures, like just kind of take some pictures of myself as I was losing weight. And it just kind of also to boost my confidence, because a lot of people are like, you're so pretty. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just me, And I took the pictures, and I was like, wow, I really am pretty. I'm like, wow, okay. So I got on Model Mayhem and just kind of started doing pictures, for fun. And I ended up doing a couple hair shows and some lingerie shows, and things just kind of started spiraling from there. And, while I was cooking and trying to figure out, what I like, there's some stuff like yogurt, Greek yogurt. It tastes like sour cream. It really does. Plain old Greek yogurt tastes like sour cream. So I love Mexican food. I love sour cream. I love cheese. So I did research on what kind of cheeses were lower fat that you could that have a lot more flavor. But like, you know, like feta cheese or Havarti or, you know, really sharp cheddar cheese. You don't need as much to get the same amount of flavor.
Right.
So, and I would throw Greek yogurt in there instead of, you know, regular like sour cream. Or, you know, I would do, instead of brown like sugars, I would put dark brown, like the really, really dark brown sugar, because it has a lot of flavor in it. You don't need very much.
Well, I'm going to come back to the whole cooking thing, because you're a whole cooking show unto yourself with a cookbook coming out soon.
Yes.
But let's go to some of the stuff that you did once you got the weight down and the body image feeling good. You had said you were doing some modeling with Model Mayhem and things like that. Maybe talk a little bit about that, some of the film work you've done, and then maybe some of the transition into becoming a spokesmodel, you know, for a very, very nice lingerie company that you're doing right now.
Well, you know, while I was lifting weights and, you know, I still had these body image issues that I was fat. I mean, just in my mind, I had these fat eyes. So, you know, I started really getting into the Model Mayhem, and I probably did a photo shoot 2 or 3 times a week. Just to kind of, you know, because I didn't see what I projected was different than what everybody else saw until I saw it on actual like film or on, you know, the camera. And I just kind of started building my self-confidence that people were like, you really could do this, you know, for a living. You're very good and very natural at it. And I'm just like, you know, okay. So when I moved home, back to Seattle, it's kind of my home base. That's really where I met Twala. It's where I, you know, started doing a lot more fashion shows, because we have a fashion show thing that's called Chance. So it's basically all the local designers get this opportunity to do fashion shows. So that's how I really got involved in doing fashion shows. And actually the producers from 21 and Over found me at one of these fashion shows. And they were like, hey, you know, we're looking for a really pretty girl with really nice boobs to, you know, kind of be the topless girl running around, getting chased by a bull. And I was like, that's kind of interesting, but okay, I'll try. You know, that sounds fun. Sounds good to me.
Right.
So, you know, so we got all the paperwork going, and, you know, we just kind of started the balls running. They gave me my own trailer, which I was like, man, I feel so sad. Yeah, they gave me my own trailer. I was like, this is great. I mean, it wasn't huge, but it was like, you know, a whole section of a trailer that I got to hang out in. They dressed me. They did my hair and makeup. You know, they kept knocking on my door, seeing if I wanted food or if I needed anything. And then when it was time to go, it was, you know, probably 4 o'clock in the morning, because it was a night, because it's a bonfire, and I'm supposed to be getting chased by this big bull. And, you know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I've been sitting in that trailer, you know, all night. They're like, okay, Nikki, it's your turn. I'm like, oh.
Time to get chased by the bull.
Yeah, it's time to get chased by the bull. And I'm like, okay. Take my robe off, and there's this whole crowd of people, and I'm like, oh, God.
Was it like a real bull?
It was a real bull.
Did they have like a bull handler to keep you safe?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean, the stretch of space that they had him running on was, you know, maybe half an acre. Okay. So, but they literally just would, you know, go, yeah, like that, and he would run across. You know what I mean? And then they would catch him, and then they'd run across again, but he was like chasing me. Chasing me. You know, he's like a cow. I was just running.
He's like a cow.
Really, really nice. You know, he had this big nose. He was really cute. But you know, it was very exciting for me, just because, you know, a movie set is, I mean, they have a lot of these big cameras, and, you know, there's just a lot going on. There were a lot of extras there. And, you know, like I said, when I took my robe off, I was like, oh my God, there's like 50 people here, and they're all going to watch me running around with my top off. Okay. You know,
well, let me ask you this, because I think viewers would be interested in, because you've seen both sides of the fence as far as sort of the adult industry side of it, as far as film production, and like mainstream Hollywood. Are there differences, or is it just all kind of the same thing, but just bigger cameras and bigger lights and more people?
It is, I think, honestly, it depends on who you're shooting for, but, you know, I've shot with Miles Long, and to me, it's more like a cinema, just a miniature version of it, because he, you know, he cares about the product that he's putting out. And so, you know, it's taking cuts and actually, you know, making sure your acting is right, and be like, hey, let's do that again. It didn't go, you know, it wasn't very good. And, you know, just smaller cameras, still really good lighting, you know, but it's just a smaller production, you know. But I've also done other things, like this commercial for this company, that I was this hot girl walking around, and it probably took 2 hours to film me walking across the street, getting face shots of me walking in between the couple, feet shots, body shots. You know, it was still like a little miniature cinema production, regardless of adult or, you know, mainstream. At least that's how I feel. If the product is a good product, because Brazzers too, it's very cinema-y to me. Difference is clothes are coming off. And
I think we're seeing a lot more of that as far as the type of things that we shoot at shush.com and we're seeing come out of MedArt. You know, just sort of a high-end cinematography approach, you know, rather than, you know, 3 guys in a van driving down the street in Miami and lure a girl into the van and take her to a hotel room and run gonzo wild. So
yeah, that's really
I think that's a real positive development.
You know, I really care about the stuff that I'm putting out there, you know, adult film-wise, and so it's kind of, I don't like the gonzo. I really don't. I've done it, and I don't really care for it. I think it's boring. I think that, you know, people just, you know, not a lot of people are looking for stuff like that, even if, you know, there's a lot of it out there. So, I mean, people don't know that they can find really good quality, you know, stuff. So it's just kind of, the products that I'm putting out there is quality. I'm all about quality over quantity. You know, people will pay more for good quality, beautiful actresses, and artistically done, because, you know, sex is like an art form, you know. So, I mean, I just,
So speaking of sex, sex and weight, maybe do a before and after feeling. You know, what was sex like for you when you were heavy? Has it changed to some degree? And is it all in your mind? Can you remain heavy and have great sex? Or just kind of ramble about that a little bit?
Yeah, let me try to think here, because, you know, to me, even though I say I lost 240 pounds, I still can't even believe that I lost that much weight. But I would say that when I was heavier, because my confidence was not as great, I would have a lot more sex. Like, the sex just was, I just wanted to have sex. I didn't care what kind of sex it was. I was just interested in having sex because, let's face it, when you have sex, you feel really good.
Yeah.
You know, but since I've been lighter, I've been able to have more interesting kind of sex. So, you know, like, there are certain positions that I could never do when I was heavy. No one could ever pick me up or move me around and shift me, you know, because I was so big.
Yeah.
So now that I've been thinner and I'm more athletic and I can, you know, I've stretched and stuff like that, I feel like I have more interesting sex. My sex life is a little bit more, well, just interesting. You know, I can do different things, and I'm just, you know, I don't know. I feel like everything in my life has been easier since I've been fit. Not necessarily since I've been thin, but since I've been fit, even walking upstairs or carrying things. You know, so I would definitely say that sex is easier being lighter, but I don't know if it was the same. I think it's the same mentally, at least, when I was heavier. Other than that, I wanted to have a lot of sex because my confidence was kind of shot. If that makes sense.
Yeah, makes absolute sense.
Yeah. So,
switching over to something else, one of your achievements recently, I spotted on AVN, your billboard on top of a hotel casino in Las Vegas. Tell us about that a little bit. You're on a billboard.
I know. Well, it's kind of interesting. So for AVN, you know, Miles Long and Gracie Glam and Kendall Carson, all of us, we were basically hosting for AVN, and they put the flyer up on the billboard, you know, just to kind of help promote it and stuff like that. And it was very exciting because I got to actually shoot inside Taboo, which is now closed. The actual nightclub is now closed.
That's at the MGM, right?
At the MGM, yes. But when we were shooting inside Taboo, it was really kind of unreal for me. So I'm like, wow, these pictures are going to like go up on their billboard. You know, it's really cool. And then, you know, when we got here for AVN, and, you know, Miles told me, he's like, hey, you know, they got you up on the digital billboard. And I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, that is so cool. So we spent hours trying to figure out which billboard it was on. And because we wanted to get a picture of me in front of it. So, but it's kind of unreal at first, because you're like, holy crap, it's up on this big giant Jumbotron, and millions of people are on the strip, and they can see me. Oh my gosh. Like, it was just kind of overwhelming, I guess you could say. But very exciting, very exciting. And then they did it again for my event that we hosted for the 21 and Over movie. When it came out.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that, because Miles was telling me earlier today that there was a whole red carpet and the fans and the paparazzi, and it all sounded very glamorous.
Yes, it was. So I am the spokeswoman for Toilet Intimates, and, you know, we, Taboo wanted to, because I live here in Las Vegas, and, you know, they found out that I was in 21 and Over. They're like, hey, you know, do you want to do the 21 and over, you know, like release party with Nikki Phoenix. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds great. And so we shot inside Taboo again, and Twala sent me a bunch of pieces to shoot for the, you know, for the flyer. And we did giveaways for her lingerie. We gave away 6 different pieces. And it was just kind of like about, you know, women, you know, the women's lingerie, and her lingerie line is about women changes, like their lifestyle changes, whether divorced or, you know, growing up, or, you know, just that's what her lingerie is kind of about.
The whole Twala philosophy at Line is very much into being sex positive, about body image, accepting of yourself, and, you know, going with that as an asset.
Yes, and also
expand on that a little bit.
Like your changes, because really, if you think about it, the underwear you're wearing, you may not have thought about it, but you wouldn't wear it if it wasn't comfortable. You know what I mean? And as a woman, you wear lingerie or you wear underwear pieces underneath. Like me, I'm kind of obsessive. If I'm wearing a bra, the underwear needs to match. You know what I mean? Like it just needs to match, and it needs to be comfortable. Otherwise, I'm not going to wear it. Yeah. And I always find that a lot of the stuff out there is not very comfortable. It's not very sexy, you know. And her stuff is just different. It's sexy, and she goes to China and picks out all these like great silks and laces and stuff like that. So when I was doing the event, I wanted her to be a part of it because, you know, the fact is, I am a woman, and I am trying to empower other women to believe in themselves, and, you know, to be educated about their diet and their health, and, you know, be inspired by me, because, you know, I'm a self-motivator, so I'm very dedicated, I'm very disciplined, but a lot of people don't have that. But if they are inspired by someone, you know, then they could maybe be more dedicated, and they could, you know, be like, wow, she came from here and she's here. Now she's doing this, and, you know, doing billboards and adult and mainstream, and, you know, being a model, and is still very humble and nice and sweet. You know, like I feel like women will feel more empowered by that. So I brought Twala into the event because of what her whole line speaks of. And she showed up, and I brought my girl Alexis, who's also, she's a fitness junkie. You know, she was kind of a ugly duckling as well. So she kind of blossomed, and, you know, her and I are very good friends. And so I brought her along, and we had a really, really good night. You know, there was a red carpet. Twala was kind of freaking out because she's never done anything like this, like press-wise. And, you know, she brought her husband along. You know, lots of pictures were taken, and we got in there, and we just started partying, and there were lots of fans. And, you know, every time I'm in Taboo or anytime I'm out, I really just interact with fans because I love my fans. It was a really, really good night, and the party was awesome. And, you know, I brought a bunch of girls into the table that won all the lingerie pieces because we did raffling. And Twala had 6 pieces that she gave away, and we had a bunch of different ones, and for each girl that came up, I would, you know, pick which one I thought would be best for them. And so did she, because all 3 of us were up there. So we also gave away the pieces that were actually on the flyer. So they, you know, they had a little autographed thing by me, and it was the piece that was on the flyer. So, you know, it was very fan interactive. And
well, it sounds like a good time was had by all, and it sounds very glamorous. So what's next for you? I know you've got a cookbook soon to be released. Maybe talk a little bit about that and some of the thinking behind and your mission and philosophy on creating your own cookbook.
Yeah, so I'm actually writing 2 books. The cookbook is still, you know, it's a work in progress, but we're in the middle of finishing up the touches for it. And it was basically inspired by all the recipes that I fiddled with and ripped apart and put back together for my fitness stuff, you know, because I want food to taste really good, but I want it to be easy, and I want it to only take 20 minutes, because when I'm hungry, I am hungry. I want to eat now. So it just kind of talks about, you know, good alternatives like the Greek yogurt, using it for sour cream or using it for different sort of things as a cream base, because it doesn't really have a lot of calories in it, but it has a ton of protein in it. It's like 20 grams for a cup of Greek yogurt, which is a lot of protein.
So beyond the culinary work, what's next for you as far as media, popular culture? Do you have any upcoming plans or goals or things you want to do?
Twala and I are working on a project together. I don't really want to talk too much about it, but there is a big project that Twala and I are working on. And then I'm also working on my website. That's kind of my next big venture here. I was trying to get my website up and going. And, you know, like I said, I am writing another book, which is my autobiography. It's called The Phoenix Rises, and it's basically about my life and what I went through and my changes and stuff like that. So, but I'm sure there's other things that will come up in the meantime, but those are my big projects right now that I'm working on.
Well, as the old cigarette ad back in the 1970s when I was a lad said, "You've come a long way, baby." You're far too young to even remember Virginia Slim's
I'm like,
cigarettes. You were like 2. But you've definitely come a long way, and a fantastic journey. Do you have any parting just thoughts, not particularly advice, but just a chestnut that our viewers can take away with them around the whole, your experience as far as personal growth and things?
I would definitely say that no matter where you've come from, where you grew up, how you grew up, you can be whoever you want to be, and just, be inspired and, eat right, take care of yourself, be educated. Whatever you set your mind to, you can actually do, because, I grew up totally different than where I'm at now, and I'm very, I try to stay humble, too. Stay humble.
All right. Well, it really shows, and it's just been a delight speaking with you today. The members of Shush, that they love to hear personal experiences and things like that. So I want to thank you very, very much, Nikki, for joining us today. And this is Jack signing out. And say goodbye.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me.
Shush.com provides a safe place for women to explore their sexuality with high-quality, intelligent, erotic content. Because no woman is an island, Shush creates an environment where women can relax, enjoy, learn, and feel good about being sexual, sensual beings without sacrificing personal ethics. For more innovative, cutting-edge, and entertaining radio shows, movies, and original TV programming, please visit shush.com. That's SSSH.com.